So, good morning and welcome. So, let's start today's session. So, today we are going to divide the session into two, or I would rather say three parts, okay, or maybe multiple parts. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to start with the definition of what is an organization, because you're doing your BBA. You need to know what an organization is. I've been using organization and saying that family is also an organization. So let's discuss about what really is an organization. And then we are going to be talking briefly about how teams work. Okay, so I just want to say that I picked up these slides from my existing OB classes and my training programs, etc. So they are quite heavy, okay? But I'll be skipping some slides, so don't get worried about that. Just focus on what is coming to you and enjoy it, okay? And get the essence of how teams work. And then once I'm done with the little bit of team, and I'm going to rush quite fast because a lot of it has already been covered, like building trust, so that has already been covered. And I'm going to then get on to briefly about some theories of leadership. So there is going to be, we are going to discuss Blake and Motl's model, and we're going to discuss the situational leadership theory. Okay, so situational leadership theory is again in two parts, but we'll only discuss the first part, which is relevant for leadership in management, and you all will really enjoy it. Okay, so the second part is all about mm, coaching and mentoring. So that is going to be coming way later, so that we really not going to be getting into right now. So the whole question is, are you ready for today's session? Yes. Okay. And this is not enough. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a film, okay, called The Art of Possibility. And it's not available on YouTube, it's not available anywhere. It's a kind of a documentary, which is actually a real life documentary which has been made by a couple, and they were given so many accolades. It was like, you just see the movie. I'm going to briefly tell you about it before we start. And it's about how a gentleman who is a person who is the master of the orchestra, he's the one taking care of the orchestra, and how he says that leadership is such that he, as a leader, is not creating any music. His success depends on the success of everyone out there who's creating the music for him, and they have to be in synchronicity. Only then the orchestra will be successful. Okay, so we'll see how he coaches and how he trains and how he empowers the people. Okay, his students also, they're running an academy, music academy. And this gentleman had come on TED long time ago. So you will find him, if you type his name, you will find him on TED. Videos are still there, but not the original film. So I cannot share that film with you. I will not put it on any thing, and I'm going to be showing it on YouTube. And let's see if YouTube even allows it to be streamed, without giving any grief. And then after that, whatever time is going to be left, this movie is for 45 minutes, but I'm going to put it on a slight, you know faster mode, so that it kind of gets through soon. And we are going to process the movie. There's going to be a lot of learning. Okay, so be alert, note down your learnings. Okay, take screenshots if you want to, and then we will process it. We will take in the learnings, and then I'm going to invite a guest faculty. Okay, and that guest faculty is going to be a surprise. I'm not going to tell you who it is there just now. Okay, so I hope that you have a good time chatting with the guest faculty. So let's start. Okay, so as I said, this is from my OB lecture. So let's take it further. So can you hear me, everyone? Good, good. Thank you, Siddhi. That's it. So usually when I used to take my classes, I used to introduce Professor Vishwanath also, and I had kind of a lot of fun introducing him. So this is a little bit of introduction about myself, which you already heard, and this was more than 3 years ago. So we did this exercise with you guys, and I asked you the relevant questions. So are you ready for new ideas? And let's start by saying a big yes. Okay. And on that note, I even do an OB course with a caselet, which I've already done with you guys about Rana Anand. I also start that one of the people in Pune and one of the greatest stalwarts in our industry, Mr. Rahul Bajaj, he is a very people oriented person. And he himself is a living example, okay, of being an HR person, of being a people's person. And he said that his entire life, he told everyone, take the machines, take everything away from me, but don't take my people away. My people are there with me. I can restart the business from scratch. And this is what happened to him once. And he used to stay since 1965. And he's actually quite, old also. When his father started it, Mr. Jamnalal Bajaj, when he started it and that entire, his brother, and he got into this Bajaj, and they started with scooters. Later on, went on to making motorcycles and putting it all together. They are now such a big company, and he used to live, Mr. Bajaj used to live in the same colony in Akrudi since 1965, and all three of his children, including the chairman now, Sanjeev Bajaj, they attended the same school as the children of his peons. And he believed that when you live close to your people, you come close to them mentally too. And he just said that the biggest success of my life has been the people around me. So let's see how we handle the people around us. And we can only do it when we know how to handle ourselves. So today, on the 13th day of our session, let's just see what OB is all about. Organizational behavior is a study of human behavior and their attitudes that takes care of their abilities and then gets them into a state of performance in organizations, which provides value added knowledge. So, the study of this subject provides value added knowledge for an individual and the teams at all managerial levels. It is ultimately the human resource that makes the company. And this is what I wanted to share with you forever. And please, any one of you can take a screenshot of this and put it in the group. Okay, do that right now. Take a screenshot, and as soon as possible, just put it in the group. Okay, so in this, what it says that at a lower management level, at the entry level, you need a lot of technical skills, but you need a lot of human skills also. But then when you get into the middle management, your knowledge of technical skills goes down. Okay. But your human skills is again as much and maybe more. And then comes the fact that when you get into the top management, you need not have any to little knowledge about the technical skills. What you need is lots and lots of human skills and some amount of conceptual skills. So, as a middle management, some amount of conceptual skills are important where you start learning and climbing the ladder. Okay. You may climb the ladder slowly, gradually, or you may jump. So, any questions on this? Because this is absolutely essential. Technical skills, human skills, conceptual skills. At the lower level, technical and human. Middle level, very little technical and some amount of conceptual skills, but a lot of human skills. Okay, the ability to balance between the top management and the lower management, to be able to develop leadership skills for the lower management, for your team, to get into what is called the supervisory role, and to be able to handle the vision, the mission, the commands, the orders, and also some of the nuances of the top management. Okay, so this is how it is all about. And why organizational behavior? Because we are in an era that values entrepreneurship, horizontal structures, knowledge management, virtual organizations. Now with corona, so much virtual organizations. There's so many organizations that have just stopped their working from the office. They're barely maintaining an office outside, and they're just expanding in terms of people who are working from home. They don't have to worry about the canteen facilities. They don't have to worry about the coffee facilities. They don't have to worry about electricity light bill. They don't have to worry about the peons and all that. They are their own peons. They manage their own work. Okay. A lot of people have lost their job, but a lot of people have also gained new jobs. Okay. So the human factor has the coping skills to manage the forces of continuous change, which are dominant and persistent. Who knew that something like this pandemic will come? We could not even comprehend in our wildest dreams that there will be a time where for 2 months or so, sporadically, the whole world will shut down. One full month, the entire world shut down. But life kept on, okay, for many of the people. So now is the question I want to ask you: what is this organization? What is organization? Quickly tell me, what do you think is an organization? You can unmute and speak to me. Any of you can even type, but unmute and speak to me. What do you think is an organization? Quickly, quickly, quickly. We've got lots to do today. Okay. Isha, thank you for your response. Group of people forming a business. Okay. So, okay. A group is correct. You're quite close to it. 1/3 of your definition is correct, that it's a group of people. So, group of people is obviously more than two people. Okay. So, you and one more person can also make an organization. The activity of making preparations or arrangement for something, that can be a team, Siddhi. Okay, need not be an organization. You get into you make a team. Okay, you do something and then you are out. For example, this class over here in front of me, 25 of you in front of me, with me 26 of us. Okay, so are we an organization? Are we an organization? Just quick response. The answer is obviously no. Okay, so it's an entity. No, but that entity is, now see, every organization is an entity. A team can be an entity, but not really. And even if they give themselves names, even if they have, certain titles, and they say that we are the, raging rockers, or we are the big bulls, such type of names come whenever I've been taking all these classes. So a group of people is 1/3 of the definition. What else is there in the definition? There are two more aspects. Quickly give me the aspects and we'll go ahead. Anyone? Give me one more thing. Very important. What I've been screaming since the first day. The word starts with goal. Sorry, the word starts with G. I've already given it out. Okay, sorry. So, the now let me take you to what the definition is basically. It's a consciously coordinated social unit, okay, composed of two or more people that functions on a relatively continuous basis to achieve a common set of goals. Now, the in my classes all these years, people have come up with these two factors, that yes, it is a group of people and they're working towards a common goal for business, for creating money, for purpose and all that. But this relatively continuous basis is something that doesn't come out. Okay. And today I'm telling you that when you talk about the organization, it's divided into three components. Okay. A group of people, that is more than one person, even if two people come together, okay, and it's composed of two people or more, okay, that work towards a common goal on a relatively continuous basis. And based on this definition, can you clearly see that I've been saying it from day one, that a family is an organization. You can even now say that you are working in an organization because you're part of a family. Okay. So your family is an organization. How? Because two people have got together, socially, consciously coordinated social unit. So they become one. They have decided to come together, and their goal is to procreate and to create another social unit. And the purpose is to live coordinately together happily, so that they can then be there for the rest of the family. So it continues on a relatively permanent basis, unless there is some hazard and a particular unit of the family, something happens and something comes to an end. Okay, so relatively continuous basis to achieve a common set of goals. Now I want to ask you, your grocery shop, is that an organization? Outside your house, the grocery shop, is that an organization based on this definition? Quick yes or no. And on that note, even tell me, is a food truck or a ready wala, the one who's on that, is that person an organization? If he's got another assistant with him, maybe a boy or another girl or somebody, a husband, wife, do that. So yes, Isha, yes for what? For the first one or for the second one? The yes is for both of them. They need not have any name to it. They need not get registered for business. They need not have any, you know, something that cannot be copied or anything of the sort. So for both the cases, it is a yes. But your class, okay, is it an organization? No. Is Rotary an organization? The answer is yes. The chairman and the members keep on changing over a period of time. That way, Lions Club, Rotary Club, NGOs, all these are non-government, they are called organizations. Okay, corporates definitely. People who come together every Sunday and they go for a cleaning drive in Pune. Okay, are they an organization? Initially, they just may be a team or a group of people doing something, but if they do it on a relatively continuous basis for 2 3 years, maybe longer, then yes, they also are called an organization, even if they don't have a name. Okay, consciously coordinated social unit, first component, composed of two or more people, okay, that functions on a relatively continuous basis, second component, to achieve a common set of goals, the most important one. Is that clear? So this is an organization. And what is behavior? I've already discussed this with you. Okay, it is the response of a system or an organism to various stimuli or inputs. Okay, so here you have something that people do, what is called, which is internal, which is external, and then there is also something which is conscious and subconscious, and we've already discussed that several times. So here you have something called an organism, that is, could be you, and could with, cute face, with a smiley face. I'm trying to make a smiley face that's going into the eyes. So the eyes are here. Okay, So these were the freckles or what. I'm not able to do that. Okay. And this is the fellow or the felly. And on this, there is a stimuli. Okay. So when the stimuli comes from the environment or from within, there is a response that comes out. And this response could be either a response that is processed from the system. And yesterday we talked about the five senses, okay? Or it could also just be a simple reaction. So it's an R, okay? And it could be a response which is coming from internal aspects or external aspects. It could be conscious, it could be subconscious, and it could be overt or it could be covert. Overt means open and covert means closed. It could be expressed out or it could be hidden behind a mask with no expression. Okay. So how do you remember overt and covert? Overt means open. Overt means open. And covert means closed. C. Okay. So that's how you remember. And it can be voluntary or it can be involuntary. So we have a lot of voluntary functions. We have a lot of control over our behavior. And sometimes we don't have any control on our behavior. And this we've already discussed in emotions. The type of behaviors are cognitive, that is the thinking, the memory, the perception, the whole analytical processes, the intelligence of various types, are all here. And then there's the affective, that is the emotional aspect. And what the combination of the above two, what comes out and what forms on the basis of a relatively continuous basis, that is a tendency of a human being that acts as a disposition, and that is considered to be the conative or the behavioral aspect. Okay. So what is OB? It is a field of study that investigates the impact that individuals have on themselves and the environment. The groups have on individuals, groups, and the environment, and the structure of the organization has within themselves and outside have an impact on the environment. So the field of study that investigates the impact at individuals, groups, and structure. So OB is divided into three parts. Individuals, groups, and structure have on the behavior within organizations for the purpose of applying such knowledge towards improving an organization's effectiveness, so that the organization's goals are met easily and they get what they want. So this is a history. It started with Friedrich Winslow Taylor and it went on. The Hawthorne studies is in the Western electrical thing where they were studying about the environment and what environment has an effect on the working of the people. And they came to certain conclusions. So there's a movie on it, which I'm not going to show you. Just remember this Hawthorne studies. And if you want, you can check out on the YouTube. There is plenty of stuff, an old movie. And I do have I could show it to you here, but then it will take a little longer. So and there are so many other things that I want to, look into. Okay. So, okay. So I could show you a movie here. It starts with how, the workers and how the research is going on. But then it started like, can you see this? It is so long ago.
The Roaring Twenties, an era of excitement like few others in American history. An era of uproar in, well, everything. A scandalous dance called the Charleston caught on, bringing hemlines up so they could swing to the new music. Ladies bobbed their hair and covered it with cloche hats.
Okay, so they're just talking. It's a very cute movie. It's a very old movie. And the way they've done it is like really beautiful. So it's really historical. So just, go through it. And they started with finding out what's really happening, you know, and they realized that it's not the environment, but it's the human factor that makes the world go round, that takes people to do something more than what is. Okay. So OB basically focuses on improving productivity, reducing absenteeism and turnover, and increasing employee job satisfaction and organizational commitment. So it is basically a systematic study, okay, of how we can improve the predictions of behavior. We can really never predict behavior, but how can we improve it? So, by focusing on the theories and the models of human behavior, what happens is that placed in some similar situations, oftentimes people will react in the same way. Okay, so there are certain fundamental consistencies that underlie the basic behavior of all individuals, and those can be identified and they can be changed if we are aware as to why and what triggers those in the first place. Okay, and this consistency actually allows for predictability. Okay, so let's look at the functions of OB quickly. The first one is planning, and please remember it from the way I'm telling you. It's called polkas. Okay, so polka dot. The polka dot is this round thing, dot. Okay, that makes the whole world go round. My mother was very fond of polka dots, as in salwar suits and handkerchiefs, in caps and in bags, and everywhere she liked polka dots. So every time I teach this, I must mention her. So it starts with planning. Okay, that's the first thing. And in planning, again, it starts with defining goals, establishing a strategy, and developing ways to go about conducting those strategies and activities to reach those goals. So once the planning happens, then you start getting into the nitty gritties and the details. Okay, how do we go about it? So it's basically, a convergent process, not so much a divergent process. You start with the goal and the end in mind, and we've studied that in Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Effective People. They start with the end in mind, start with the goal in mind, and then you work it backward. And that's how organization happens, where you need to group people, you need to form what is called a full supply chain. Okay, and you make sure that it is beautifully coordinated. Okay, I have a movie on that too, but we'll see it some other time. Then there is leading, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. So when you start getting everything in order, these are the people who are doing it. They can get bored, they can be distracted, there can be some faults in communication. So what do you need? You need a leader, you need some supervisors to be able to check whether everything is going on track. And before that, you need to motivate the people to be on track. You need to direct them, you got to train them. Okay, and for doing that, you have to select the most important good people who will fit into what the organization values the maximum, and get on with the communication channels, remove as much noise as possible in all the processes, and that can be done by resolving the conflicts. Okay, and next comes the C, that is the POL, that is planning, organization, and then leading, and then comes the C part of it, that is controlling. So you keep on checking out if everything is on track, if everything is being met according to what the customer wants. The whether it's the goods or the services, whatever it is, the inventory, the supply chain, the purchasing, the manufacturing, the delivery, the feedback, the collection, the finance part of it, the marketing part of it, the HR part of it, are all the departments, the research part of it, are they consciously coordinated well? Okay, so you keep monitoring and you make the changes. And then the last is staffing, which is not part of OB. That's why it's not here on the slides. It's called and staffing. So polka z. Okay, so lots of polka dots. So the staffing is again the whole process of analyzing the job. What is it that the job requires? What is the job description? Okay, then finding places, going and attracting, telling people, oh, we are here, we are the best, we are the, this is our culture, etc. So recruiting, attracting, and then from there, eliminating what you don't want and just selecting. Okay, so recruiting is a positive process and selection is a negative process, where you just pick out the few, the cream a la cream for your organization that you feel are a fit by this whole process of um, taking group discussions or psychometric instruments, group discussions, and finally interviews, and then making the offers, negotiating the salaries, etc. And after doing that, they bring the people in, orientation happens, they tell them about the organization, they train them about the processes, and they then keep them engaged, they keep motivating them. Okay, they take them, they look at their salaries, their compensation. If anything goes wrong, the HR comes in again, manages the human relationship, leads them, directs them, motivates them. And then if once the whole thing is done, then there is a time to say goodbye. So termination also happens. And in this entire process of HR, the whole thing is called staffing. Okay. And basically OB has picked up from the subject called psychology, sociology, political science, and other social sciences like anthropology. So psychology is about individual behavior, sociology is about group behavior, political science is about power and politics and negotiation, conflicts, and all those things. And anthropology is how the culture and the structure evolves over a period of time, and how people go ahead. So basically, these are the reasons why it happens: responding to globalization, managing workforce diversity, improving quality and productivity, responding to the labor shortage in spite of people saying that, oh my God, India and China are full of population, but we still have labor shortage, improving customer services, empowering the people, improving the people's skills, coping with the temporariness. We've seen it in the last 2 years. Stimulation, innovation, and change, helping the employees manage the work and life balance, and improving ethical behavior. So, ethics is also part of anthropology, and basically, this is what it is. And we just, you know, so did you enjoy? Did you learn something about OB today? Okay, so now let's talk briefly about understanding teams. Okay, so how do teams function? And this was for Pumba. Sorry, I did not put your name, Vadia. So just watch this cute little clipping. I'm sure some of you already seen it on WhatsApp or on YouTube.
Started to travel in groups. Take the bus.
Basically, it's about the fact that when there is some attack from outside, you come together as a team, and when you work and function as a team, then you are able to face the adversities outside, and you're able to enjoy yourself. So what is the full form of the acronym team? It means together each achieves more, or it could also mean together everyone achieves more. Okay, and lots and lots. So why have teams become so popular? Because it's a great way to work together, and there is something like sathi haath badhana, ek akela thak jayega. There can be more work, there can be more, so then you need to focus. And then we've already studied about motivation, and we've seen that how that whole aspect about um, you know socializing, belongingness needs are so important. So if a person was to continuously work alone, it would become very boring, and that's why teams are required. There's a difference between work group and work team. Okay, so they both have got this kind of thing happening. In work groups, what happens, information is shared, but in work teams, there is a connection where everyone is accountable for each other, and there is what is called a collective performance. Okay, so where the goal is concerned, there is just very very important, and the synergy is supposed to be positive, and here sometimes it's neutral or negative. Accountability is definitely individual and mutual. You work together as a team, you win as a team. There could be members who are performing very well, okay, for encouragement, for motivation, but at the end of it, the accountability is as a team. Whereas in work groups, it is individual, and the skills are again, varied and different. So there are problem solving teams, there are self managed work teams, then there are cross functional teams, and these are very common. The cross functional teams could be that there are members from various departments, various units that have come together to form a team. There could be a member from the HR, there could be a member from the planning committee, there could be somebody from finance, there could be somebody from marketing, there could be somebody from purchase, there could be somebody from operations, there could be somebody from even the computer, that is the IT. Okay, so the experts have got together, and when they come together, these are called cross functional teams, and these are basically also called task forces. So there's a very beautiful case study that I do over here, and that explains what these cross functional and task forces are about. But with you all, I will not be doing it because it's part of your. And then there are virtual teams, and nowadays this is like becomes so common, where the socialization part of it is very limited, and this is done in order to take care of the time and the space constraints, the travel, the distance, the talent is all over. So in order to deport somebody from one country to the other, from one house to the other, all that nowadays things are working like this, and only one person of the family goes, stays in a guest house, and does the work for some time and comes back, and they are very happy, and the rest of the family is also happy. The children are happy because their education is not hampered. And I used to give the example of my neighbor in Kalpataru, in my parents' house, where he was from the time we shifted in, and from the time rather that entire family shifted in, KK is still working from home and from the beginning. And the wife used to basically go out and work. Okay, so she was working with PNO and Lloyd. She was working with other organizations, and she used to leave the children for many, many months. And the husband used to look after while he used to be working. Okay, so then there were some issues and all that. Then she started. She was very inspired by me, so she joined as an adjunct faculty with SMHRD. And now, thanks to 2 years, she's got so much time to be at home, and yet her children have really grown up. Her daughter is born on the same day as my son Divyansh. Okay, but 1 year before Divyansh. So we used to celebrate it usually together, or we used to do separate parties and have fun together. So team effectiveness has all these things in mind. Basically, the work design, okay, where the autonomy, the skill variety, the task identity, and the task significance is taken into consideration, where the members are given some amount of leeway to do things, the laissez-faire type of leadership that we're going to be talking about today. Then there's a process that is, common goals and efficacy, all this conflict with social loafing. Loafing means that there will always be some loafer in the team. There will be some time wasted here and there. There'll be something that will be, like remember time structuring that we did yesterday, okay, where there has to be some gossip, there has to be some musty. Okay, so there will be loafers, and there'll be sometimes ghost employees also. If the organization is huge, there would be some employees who actually don't exist. Okay, so watch out for that if you are an HR person, and there are ways of doing it. Suresh sir had done it, and he was employed by one of the organizations to just identify the ghost, and he found out that out of, I think, more than 20,000 people in that organization, 1,200 were just ghost employees. Okay, so then there is the composition, that is their abilities, their flexibilities, their roles, their diversity, preference for teamwork, and then there's a context where the leadership and climate of trust, adequate resources, process evaluation, and people evaluation, everything comes in. And in order to create effective teams, these are all kinds of things that you require, where you need to build trust, you need to build efficiency, you need to allocate roles and diversity. The size of the team has to be very optimized, and the members' preferences and their abilities have to be matched and depending on the goal. So within the team, there could be several roles that people will be getting into. And now these are some of the, little selection, training, reward processes, and tests, and all that. All these things happen. There are the global implications, and this is the summary. These are again the 9 team roles. And most important thing is to communicate. You can never over communicate. We talked about it day before yesterday, that please do not underestimate the power of communication. And however good you are, you can sometimes botch up and you don't know how and why. Because it is better to over communicate and bore a person than to under communicate and get into trouble. So conflict resolution is part of team, and it's a full topic in itself. And the most important thing is that while you're working as a team, you got to forget about your personal targets, your personal goals, and you got to sublimate it, okay, for the good of the whole team and ultimately the organization. So it starts with building friendship, building relationships, cohesiveness. You start working on the productivity, actually doing the work, and then you integrate it with the rest of the processes outside, that is, link yourself with the other teams. And all these three functions form what is called the team performance. Okay, so these are the ways you can actually get into cohesiveness and work that way. So, what are the 6 elements of a healthy team relationship? And these are as follows. The first is mutual trust. Okay, so trust, creating a trust is so, so important. In a healthy team, the team members feel secure to express their ideas, to just be themselves. Not only their ideas, their thoughts, their feelings, and also their issues, their concerns. So you need to develop the trust as you have the trust in your parents. Remember, trust versus mistrust, it starts from the very beginning, from the time the child is born, from the oral stage, from the first year of the child, when the child is helpless. And from that time, the child learns to trust. So please be there for your members. There are lots and lots of ways to do it. You have the competence, have the confidence, have the character in your personality to develop that trust. Okay, so very important. The second is concern, mutual concern. In a healthy team, the team members can depend on one another to ensure that the whole comes right. There is a spirit of collaboration. Okay, so that's how it is. They work together in collaboration. That's the anteater. Cute, na? And then comes mutual concern again. Okay, this is the second one, but I love this thing where trust is so strong, but when you collaborate, you create a symphony, which is so amazing. Then the third aspect is mutual support, where you're there for each other, where that साथी हाथ भराना, एक अकेला थक जाएगा मिलकर बोझ उठाना, where you can just depend that if today I can't do it, I'm the weak link, I can go back and you can take over. Okay, so Okay, so these are some of the cute movies that I like, and help one another, support one another. So important to do that. And then there is the mutual respect, where you bow down to the abilities, to the capabilities, to the creativity, and to the different diversity, and respect that diversity. And tomorrow or day after, we're going to be talking about diversity, and that will be great fun. Okay. So I discussed it with the evening group, and I asked them, I said, would you like to know about cultural diversities and how your personality can develop, and you can find out what kind of a person you are. Are you, so everything I'm going to talk about is very beautiful. Okay. So basically, also take care of the emotional aspects of the members, because ultimately humans are a bundle of emotions. The affective part is so important, and you've got to know that you're being loved, you're being, cared for, and that is what is important. And when there are some differences and there are some conflicts, you be there, have a calming effect on the other members. And you can do that when you are absolutely in tune and attuned to your own self and to your higher powers and to every member there, and care for each other. Take responsibility. And I've already shared all these things with you all so much. And last but not the least, so important is when good things happen, come together. Even if there is a small win, come together. Have a small party, a little samosa party, a little chai party, a little, party over the where we get water, the water stall. Okay, nowadays those water stalls are not there. They're just packaged drinking water or something like that. And you just kind of, go for the basically the other. So in order to do all this and in order to create this work, there is this whole thing. There's again a movie to it, but I'm going to just explain it to you. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm in a bit of a trouble. Okay. Physically, I'll just come back. Can I just take 2 minutes break? Can I start the movie for you all and take a few minutes break? Huh? Okay. I'll just complete this, okay, and start the movie later. So the story of the geese is such that from the geese, they basically move around in this V fashion that is visible over here. Okay. So how does this happen? Why do they go in this V formation? Because when they are, in that formation, and when they're creating that flapping their wings, and for miles and miles together, they go in this long, V fashion. And when I moved in, I used to stand in my balcony. There was such a beautiful view of the mountains and everything. It has all been kind of, taken, destroyed by other buildings coming up, and that jungle that I had in front of us, the Vadia jungle, and the Nagarwala school is still there, but the entire thing is gone. But I used to watch the skyline, and I could really see in the skyline that every spring season, lots of birds used to go, these, the geese used to travel together in the V formation. And I was so thrilled. I took some photographs also, and I'll look for them and I'll share it with you all. But then this V formation basically uplifts the others around. Okay. And it gives them more than 70% of thrust, and the speed increases, and that basically their workload goes down in flapping. If one of the birds was supposed to go alone, they would be very tired. But when they travel in teams, they can fly for miles together before taking a rest. Okay. So having a common direction, it really kind of, uplifts each other. And the air resistance, what happens is that even if one goose decides, that, oh, I can just, fall off, the moment a little synchronization is less, and he kind of, becomes a little lazy, he will be suddenly sucked out of the group. Okay. And there'll be such a resistance, and one or two members even before him and after him will also be dragged down. So he realizes that no, 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 the power is with the team. And he gets his act together, flaps a little harder, comes back in the formation, and then goes back to the same thing. Okay. So in order to maintain your own performance, you've got to go at the speed of the team, and teamwork leads you to that thing. So there is also this whole thing about shared leadership when the lead goose gets tired, because the goose is the one who's actually mapping the distance. So what happens is they just give some honk thing, and the one next to him takes over. Okay, and this one goes back. That's why you'll find that sometimes this entire thing is like, it goes from the top it is small, and from the bottom it is more, or it is the other way around. So they keep on sharing the burden of leadership. So the assistant leader takes over, and then another one takes over, then another one takes over, and then again they keep on sharing the responsibility of being the team leader, because the team leader is accountable for everyone, and they cannot afford to leave anyone behind. Okay, and from time to time they keep honking, honk, 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 honk. Okay, and why do they do that? Because those are the cheers. They're the cheerleaders to each other, where they support and they inspire each other. थोड़ा सा थकावट आ रहा है, come on, you can do it, bug up, you can do it. Okay, so it's not just Kapil Dev, but it is also Sunil Gavaskar, it's also, Sidhu, it's also so many other members of the. So it's not just now, I'm still stuck in 83. Okay, so the geese honk and they really support and inspire each other, and by mistake if one of the geese falls down and out, there'll be two others or one another who will go down there, will, kind of support, help the geese and the goose till it becomes well or it just passes over. And then they wait, when everything is fine, they wait for another team, they honk over there, and they just flap themselves and join another team, and they take back to, the journey. So in troubled times, you actually move out of your work zone. That the leaders say, tum jao, go and support this person. And that's what the power of team is. And that's the reason why there are so many consultants who are constantly waiting for an opportunity to go back to working in teams. And that's what Suresh sir and I were together. And it was so much fun, where we were a team and we had other members supporting us. And now I'm just feeling so lost. And he had that, So this is, thank you. Have a great day. I hope you really enjoyed the story and you enjoyed this portion of it also. Okay. Let's come to leadership now. Okay. So I'm going to be quickly talking to you about certain theories and what basically leadership is all about. So leadership is the ability to influence a group towards achievement of the goal. Okay. And it is the management, like difference between management and leadership. So quickly guys, I'm going to first show you the film. Okay, and then we will talk about situational leadership later. So there are plenty of theories. There is uh, the authoritative, the democratic, the laissez-faire, and this is the situational leadership that I want to get into details with. But looking at the time, I've already taken up 2 hours, 1 hour in this itself. So how will I show you the film and how will the guest faculty speak to you? So I'm going to quickly come directly to the film, and I will leave it to other aspects, because this movie is something which you will not be able to get. Okay, so let's watch the movie. Art of possibility for you.
The new leadership we're talking about is about what we would like to see, where we would like to go, what would work for all of us.
People are hungry for a new metaphor. They're tired of the old imagery of sports and war and beating up the enemy and smashing their face and knocking them to the ground, how we can win and rah, rah, rah. And so, finally everyone says, oh, give me a break, Maybe the way to think is that we're all in a symphony, and that it's a symphony, sounding together. That means all the voices of the symphony are sounding together. It's not about winning, it's about sounding together. Now suddenly leadership becomes a completely different thing.
The new era of leadership has to do with enrolling people in a vision or an idea, because you're not going to be able to command them to do that. And also, you need all the resources of everybody involved in an organization. So to be able to spark possibility in each of the people who work with you gives you all of them, gives you all the resources of every person.
Right, great. That was it. That's it. Beautiful. Now, I would say to you, when Schubert writes pianissimo, he means something softer than that last Das Wander. Do you agree?
It has to be
Softer.
softer vocally, but more intensity.
I love you. I love you. Exactly.
I think everybody's interested in leadership. The question is, what kind of leadership is the most effective? I could galvanize an orchestra, but could I enhance, enliven, and awaken an orchestra to be the most that they could be? So the note arose, the conductor as not the dominator, but the conductor as conduit for the possibility that people can be, as Ross says, the relentless architect of the possibility that others can be.
All right, once again, here we go.
This new leadership is about relationship, and it's on conversations. That is, what is the conversation I'm having? How is that affecting the person I'm having it with?
Why do you repeat it? Why do you say Das Wandern ist des Müllers Lust, das Wandern? Why repeat it?
Because it's not just his joy, it's his joy.
All right, exactly, now do it. And that isn't a bad gesture. Das Wandern ist des Müllers Lust, das Wandern. Wow, we're going here.
That's the focus. How alive is the person I'm leading to the possibility, to the vision? How much creative action can that person take from his own inspiration?
We must not forget how powerful we are, we musicians. You get that? We have the whole world in our hands. We can enroll people in anything, but we have to be the possibility ourselves. We're not singing about it, we are being it. It's a huge responsibility. And your face is lit up with joy. So it's not, oh my God, no, it's, wow, that's something to get up for in the morning. And your face is telling the story that it's the greatest thing on earth to be a musician. But much enroll people in all of it. Full, expressed, passionate. Das muss sein schlechter. One more time. Das muss sein schlechter. Here we go. Der Müller sein, der niemals mir das Wandern, das Wandern, das Wandern, das Wandern, das Wandern. Jawohl, he's got it, bravo, bravo. Wonderful, fantastic.
Okay, so please be with it. I hope you're enjoying this movie right now. Give me some response.
What we mean by transformation is the shift from being an individual to living in a connected world. Music is connection itself. We're using it as a metaphor, but it does connect you. It's a human language, and it's probably one of the purest human languages that communicates to everyone.
His energy
When I
is
saw
so infectious.
and CEOs and emerging young leaders and teachers all standing on their chairs singing Ode to Joy, I said to myself, this may be a vehicle to create a compassionate, sustainable world that works for everyone. I mean, you cannot leave without feeling a renewed sense of your own capacity, a renewed sense of your own possibility.
I don't know how I ended up in this position. I didn't say I had to push myself over like this and put my shoulder up. No, the music pushed me over, which is why I call it one-button playing. Come to the other button.
What we're trying to show people is that they can invent themselves, to understand that life is a story we tell. It's an invention anyway. You can take it lightly. That's part of rule number 6. Not taking your needs and desires so seriously, because you get in your own way with what you think you should have and your pride and all the things that have to do with your own survival. Rule number 6 tells you just not take that so seriously.
2 prime ministers sitting in a room, and suddenly the door bursts open and a man came in. He was extremely upset and shouting and carrying on, and the resident prime minister said, Peter, please remember rule number 6. And immediately Peter was restored to complete calm. And a young woman came in. She was hysterical. Her hair was flying all over the place. And he was shouting and carrying on. He said, Maria, please remember rule number 6. And immediately Maria said, oh, I'm so sorry. And she bowed and apologized and walked out. And then it happened a third time. You know how it always happens a third time? And the visiting prime minister said, my dear colleague, he said, I've seen 3 people come into the room in a state of uncontrollable fury, and they walked out completely calmly. Would you be willing to share this rule number 6, what that is? And he said, oh yeah, rule number 6, very simple. Don't take yourself so damn seriously. So he said, ooh, that's a wonderful rule. He says, what, may I ask, are the other rules? He says, there aren't any. You know, we conductors are not very good at rule number 6. Herbert von Karajan, great conductor in Berlin, he finished the rehearsal and he got into his limousine and he shouted to the driver, hurry, go, drive, go. And I said, very good, sir, where to? Doesn't matter, they need me everywhere.
Great leaders are always sought after. And the messages that Roz and Ben are giving us are inspirational. They help at least me to get more energy that, yes, this is the right thing to do. They're trying to give you the keys to what you have inside of you that is unknown to you, but they are convinced is there. Both Rosamund and Ben, they do that brilliantly. And the good news is that they're right. It's the end of the hunting season in human experience. For thousands of years, the sources of strength, wealth, power, success has been hunted for. It's been dependent on land, borders. It's been dependent on stuff we can touch. Well, now, the sources of strength, wealth, power can no longer be hunted for. They're dependent on our intellect, our emotions, our creativity, our willingness to renew ourselves. It's all about us.
I teach students. I teach a class at the New England Conservatory, young musicians, and they come and they're very excited to be there and they're thrilled to be at the New England Conservatory and all that, but they're not so sure about how they compare to their next door neighbors. And when they come up and play in front of people, it looks as though there's just one person there, but actually there are 2 people. There's the person who's playing, and then there's the person who's standing beside the person who's playing, whispering in his ear, saying, you haven't practiced enough. Do you know how many people play this piece better than you do? That difficult passage. You missed it the last time. It's coming right up. You're going to miss it again. It's the voice in the head, right? You all know the voice in the head. And if you're saying to yourself, what does he mean, a voice in the head? I don't understand what he's talking about. That's the voice I mean. So I give everybody an A in the class. Everybody gets an A.
Ben and I have a practice called giving everyone an A. It started because Ben has a graduate class at the New England Conservatory, and he had a lot of very anxious people in his class. And Ben said, I don't know how to get by it. So I said, the only way to do that is to give them all an A from the beginning of the year. So what we developed was that every student got an A and had to write a letter dated the following May saying, Dear Mr. Zander, I got my A because. So then these beautiful letters emerged, just saying exactly the person who was sort of hidden inside there, the person whom the student would be if there were no barriers, no fears, no kind of voices in the head telling them what they couldn't do. Giving the A is a completely different paradigm. It is the paradigm of possibility, and we say the A is a possibility to live into, not a standard to live up to.
Rather like a fish swims in water, the environment of the class is an A. Joy, relief, ease, community, non-competitiveness, encouragement, spontaneity, risk-taking, that is the environment of the A.
Fine, let's start. Great, wonderful plan. Wonderful.
Everybody can make a difference from any place that they're sitting, from any role in an organization. They've been thirsting to feel about themselves that they can make a difference. All of us have encountered being stopped in something when we wanted to contribute in some way and somebody stopped us. And we then were cautious about the next thing we said. And you get a few of those and it's pretty ingrained. So now people look out and say, I have to really, really, really get to know somebody before I'll trust them. Nonsense.
The little old ladies, the one who like classical music, they're all dying out. There's not going to be an audience. That's a downward spiral conversation.
If you think about how we talk, we're generally talking about what's gone wrong and what ought to be fixed. It's a conversation of no possibility, the downward spiral. It doesn't lead you anywhere.
You see it in the stock market. Of course, you also have upward spiral on the stock market. Upward spiral and downward spiral are the same thing. Right? Wherever there's a winner and a loser, you have downward spiral thinking and talking.
As soon as you notice that you're talking about what's gone wrong, what isn't right, what needs to be fixed, how they're wrong and you're right, you're in the downward spiral. The passageway out is to think possibility. It's to move forward and say, what do I want to have happen?
And we all know the feeling of radiating possibility. It's that excitement, that energy, the feeling that we're all in it together, a sense of awe, a sense of beauty. In the place of possibility, our eyes shine. I had an amazing discovery when I was about 45. I'm a little embarrassed at how old I was when I made this shattering realization, but I'll tell you what it was. This is what I discovered. The conductor of an orchestra doesn't make a sound. He's the only musician who doesn't make a sound. Right? So he depends for his power, and his power is very great. And his picture appears on the front of the record jacket, various poses. But he depends for his power on his ability to make other people powerful. That was a phenomenal realization for me, because I realized that my job was to enliven possibility, awake possibility in other people. And when I got that, I, of course, began to be very interested in how effective I was in doing that. And the only way I could think of doing it was to look at the eyes of the people in the orchestra around me. And if they were lit up, I could say, great, we're doing it. And if they weren't, I got to ask myself a question. Who am I being that the eyes of my orchestra players are not lit up? And so I started taking a white sheet of paper, put it on everybody's stand, in every orchestra that I conducted, grown-up orchestra, children's orchestra, and the white sheet of paper had an invitation with it, which is to write anything on that paper. Somebody would say, oh, a young girl wrote in her sheet of paper, she said, you're not making enough crescendo before P. This was in a Bruckner movement, so the music was building up to a great climax, and she said, you're not doing enough. There, and so that night at the concert, I did a huge crescendo. And she came up to me afterwards and she said, you did my crescendo. Well, because my dream is that every single member of the orchestra will be feeling you're doing my crescendo at every moment. I believe that is a possibility, because it is a characteristic of a leader that he never doubts the capacity of the people he's leading to realize whatever he's dreaming. Okay? Imagine if Martin Luther King had said, I have a dream. Of course, I'm not sure they'll be up to it.
Shining eyes is our image for the spark of possibility having been caught. So that person is enrolled in a new vision, and it's something for themselves. So it's the sense of possibility in the world where there was none before.
It's a real pleasure to hear you play. What kind of music is this, Sarah? It's a dance, exactly. It's a dance. Did you notice anybody with an irresistible desire to get up and dance as you were playing? No, you didn't. Okay, right. I didn't either. And I think it may be because, glorious though your playing was, you tended to put...
I cannot play their instruments. They have to play. They will play very well in a state of domination, but if the focus is on the players and the extent to which they are transformed, the extent to which they are enlivened, the extent to which their eyes are shining, that is infinitely more satisfying and rewarding, and in the end, I believe, effective than the other way of dominating people to follow the will of the leader.
Good. If you can really make that first beat, yada-dum, give it a big, big impulse. If you can throw it to me right at the back of the room. Yeah, I'm going to catch it. Now, put the notes in between. Beautiful. Did you hear that? It's gorgeous. That was wonderful. Beautiful. Do that. You do that with one buttock. And then it goes. Beautiful. And that was so beautiful, we want to hear it again. Finish. Yeah, it's really beautiful. There's one thing I think you forgot. Come here, Max. Come here with me. Come here. This is Michael. Michael has had a very, very tough week. Now, along comes Sarah with cello to remind Michael that life is great, okay? So that's your job, all right? Are you ready? So here we go. Yeah, but Michael is over here. He's not here, all right? So you really have to get him now. You have to give him this absolute clear message. Life
Understand the customer focus, what the customer wants, and how you can delight the customer. It's not your work.
New pathways. In fact, they
It's
make
what
new pathways.
they want.
to meet you so much.
This is about a very major transformation of our habits, a rethinking of what we do every day.
Keith, Anne just lost her love.
I'd forgotten that I'd forgotten. Why did I devote 8 hours a day during my entire childhood to practicing this? It wasn't because my mother locked me in a closet. It was because I sat down and just couldn't get up because I loved it so much. And I'm helping remember that. It's something that I think about I try to think about every time I sit down to play. It doesn't happen every time, but I made myself a sign that I look at when I practice, and right before I practice, it's on my music stand, and it helps me remember. It says, "Remember to play your cello in a Ben Zander-esque manner." I'm trying to remember that my barriers don't have to be there. I, of course, wouldn't want to become sloppy or anything. I'm not going to stop seeking, perfection. Perfection is not to be gained at the cost of music.
All she has to do is mark that down on paper on her music stand, and suddenly the whole experience comes back, the whole shift in being, which she experienced when Ben coached her into realizing that she's a conduit for the music. She'll never forget it.
The art of leadership is about a new way of being. Speak possibility. Look for shining eyes. Enroll every voice in the vision. Ask yourself, ask the people around you what they want. Lead by making others powerful. Recognize the downward spiral and enroll the people in the journey of radiating possibility. Quiet the voice in the head that says, I can't do it. Remove the T of the can't. Lead from wherever you stand. Everyone gets an A. Everyone is outstanding in this group. Give people a possibility to live into, not up to. And finally, rule number 6, please don't take yourself so seriously. Life is to have fun. Life is not just to win. Life is to be in the winning. So it's been produced by hosts are Benjamin Zander and Rosamund Stone Zander. Benjamin Zander, Ben Zander. Can you see that Todd McDonald from McDonald's? So guys, just tell me, did you like the movie? Did you enjoy it? Did you learn something from it? And according to Sam Walton, who's the founder of Walmart, he said outstanding leaders go out of their way to boost the self-esteem of their personnel. If people believe in themselves, it's amazing what they can accomplish. So look for the shining eyes. Play the person's crescendo. Ask them. Ask yourself what you want. Play your crescendo. Go to that high. Enjoy it. And just know, just be and know that you are loved, and that is beloved. And that's you're basically what you're here for. Okay. So there's a lot to leadership and more. And let's just quickly take a 5-minute break and let's be back. And I want you to revise and type the learning as you go about it. Okay. Making you the host. You're supposed to be surprised. Two and a half minutes. अरे एक सेकंड रुक जाओ. Have some patience. So let me hand over the stage to the guest speaker, and I've already pinned him. He's already the host. So, Mr. Divyansh Vishwanath, please take over the stage.
Good morning, guys. I'm Divyansh, and today I come to you guys with the qualification of being a student. Yes, I get some of the issues that you guys have probably a shade better than any one of your other faculty members or your parents might have for what you guys are going through. And today I'm here to talk about some of the things that I've experienced and to come up with a bit of information and things that I've correlated from one situation to another. And here I am to give you some gyan. Yes, it's gyan. It's ultimately advice which you guys may or may not have asked for. But well, that's what we're here for. We're here for personality development. So I hope that I can make a little bit of difference in your life today. I'm currently doing my BTech with my MBA right now from NMIMS College. Yes, I'm doing a BTech with an MBA. I am world's most cliched student. So let me just share my screen right now, and I'll take you through what I guys for you guys today. So as you can see, just let me share the slide a minute.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver speaks to
Yes. So here I have with me what I call as generic gyan, GG. Today I'm going to talk to you guys and give you advice which you've heard from everywhere else in this world, and I'm not going to give you anything different in its headings and titles, but I'll talk about it from an angle of frustration and pain that I went through. And this anger and frustration and this pain that I went through about listening to generic advice, only to have it go completely awry or go in a completely different direction. Uh, I could then, with a lot of my problems that I went through and the mental issues, which don't even seem like issues on the outside, I could correlate one thing to the other and came up with some workable advice as to what to do when you're faced with certain situations, especially in the stages of life that you guys are going through right now. So yeah, generic gyan. So have you noticed that we've always got this one uncle or auntie, who appears to be very wise and usually has a beard, and he comes up to you and says, Divyansh, at least that's happened to me, Divyansh, have some goals in life, have purpose, focus on the good things in life. माँ बाप का आशीर्वाद होना चाहिए, उनका सम्मान करो, मान करो. I mean, everywhere we go, we are students, so yeah, इसको उठा के एडवाइस दो, इसको उठा के ज्ञान दो, इसको उठा के ये दो वो दो, like that's what we are told, and like we are told कि okay, if you follow our advice, you will get success. Huh? And that's it. Like that's it. The interaction is over there. You never asked for it, but here you're getting it. Here also, probably you didn't ask for me, but you're getting me. So I've also come to you with some generic gyan. Be more social, have purpose, control your selfishness, overthinking. I'm going to talk about overthinking today, and then focus on the good things in life. And then we'll also talk about feelings and peer pressure. And today I'm going to be like Master Ugwe and tell you that nothing is an accident. Okay, that never made sense to me, but well, it has been said by him, so perhaps it's true. Now I want you guys to tell me this. These are 7 generic gyans which I have thought of right now, which I feel I can talk about. Any other generic gyan that you guys have heard of, early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise? And any nonsensical gyan that everyone keeps just throwing around. Anyone wants to type in the chat box some gyan that irritates them when they hear it? I can think of several. I mean, one of them would be Divyansh, don't show your anger or frustration, control it. Like I've never heard that one before. Divyansh, focus on your studies. Like as if my parents never told me to, and I needed some random uncle or auntie to come up and tell me to do that. Otherwise, I would have never thought of it in my life ever. So my problem with generic gyan is not the gyan itself. It is the fact that yeah, nobody has anything unique to say. Nobody has anything different to say. Like they all come and give you the same gyan that they've read from a book or heard from their parents, or they think it sounds good, so they just say it to you, and they say it with this smug look that Master Uguay has right now with a finger up, saying that ये करना चाहिए बेटे, तभी तुमको सक्सेस मिलेगा. अरे यार, why terms and conditions on my success यार? It never makes sense to me. So I'll be talking about these generic gyans, and birthed out of this frustration against these gyans, I have come up with certain workable solutions for the same. Now, the problem with generic gyan is that you're told that okay, you follow the gyan and you will get success. But often, I have also tried it. I have experimented it. I followed certain gyans. I woke up one full week early in the morning, And I was like, where is my success now here? I am not healthy, wealthy, or wise. In fact, I am not, I'm groggy. I feel very unwise. I'm irritated. I'm far from what I was before. And I'm certainly not any richer for getting up early in the morning. So where is my banana here? Yeah, I'm putting in mehnat. I want the phal. Mehnat or phal. There should be a equal ratio, right? So when you're not getting the phal that you want, your whole motivation to put in that mehnat is gone. Why should you put in mehnat when you're not getting exactly what you want? So that's where I'd start with being more social, and then I'll correlate that with the ful, that is what kind of purpose you want to fulfill, and the selfishness and the overthinking aspects that come with it. So be more social. First of all, sincere apology to all the introverts over here. This is like the most frustrating thing I can tell you guys. Be more outgoing. I mean, like you guys have never heard of this one before, huh? Like you should never talk to people, and no one's ever told you that you should go out and be social. Like you never thought of it before. So generally, people tend to categorize themselves. Oh wait, there's something in the chat box. I did not have a look. Okay, that's my mother itself. So yeah, so generally people tend to categorize themselves as extroverts and introverts. And 1 out of 3 people are introverted. I'm not too sure about how credible this information is, but that doesn't matter to me today. I'll be talking on a different basis as of now. So extroverts are generally people who are more outgoing and are more comfortable in social situations. I mean, we all know it. Yeah? There's so many memes on it. I'm sure that you guys have learned more about extroverts and introverts from memes than you guys have from any personality textbooks. And if not from memes or textbooks, you must have learned it from my mother when she spoke about personality types and developments and things like that. So yeah, again, sincere apologies to introverts here. I'm sorry to tell you to be more outgoing, but like that's the truth of life. But I have been an introvert. I have been that guy who sits at home the whole day, just looks into his computer screen, plays games, and hardly has any friends. And even the friends that I have really are not too close to me. I barely know their last name. And right now, I would say that my friends say that I'm an extrovert. I personally would not classify myself in either of those two right now, that I'm an outgoing person. And in fact, right now, I even get paid for my extroversion. I get paid for the way I speak. I get paid for my relationship building competency. So I am in sales right now. I'm working in a startup company wherein I approach clients and I onboard them. I have been in publicity. I have been in selling in actors. Like I've been into relationship building with NGOs and communities. And right now I'm also going to be working as an analyst where my primary role is to understand people's behavior. So I went from an absolutely introverted person who barely had any friends to a person who gets paid for the way he or she talks. And today I am here also speaking to you guys with a hint of uh, confidence, not that much. I mean, I could do better, but anyways, that's a different story. Now, how did I go from being that guy who was barely like who was had so many issues? Like, I mean, let me just talk about the things that I faced when I was an introvert. Okay, so first of all, I went through these stages wherein I tried to get into social interactions and it didn't work out for me. Like, I tried again didn't work out. Like, it just didn't seem I didn't seem to get what I want out of a social interaction. Like I'd go up to my friends and hey guys, and then you would have this like they'd just look at you like that, and someone won't even look at you, and then you start getting uncomfortable, and sometimes you are teased. You go through social nonsense, especially when you're a kid. Kids are mean, like they really don't give you that kind of validation that you want, and you start believing that you are not socially adept, and that might be the case. You may lack the social skills that you need to get what you want out of social interactions. So you end up getting these ego defense mechanisms like, oh, I never really liked people. I'm uncomfortable in social situations. It's just not my thing. I can't talk to people. And now we as humans are social beings. Now, why do you need to be social? People are the means for you to get what you want. Like everyone you talk to who is successful, they'll always say it's got to do with the people around them. Any organizations are successful, they'll say it's primarily due to the people I have in my organization. So when people are involved everywhere, how can you live a life as someone who's uncomfortable in social situations? And it's so frustrating because everyone tells you to be outgoing, but no one really tells you what to do, how to do, and that to do it from your comfort zone. Everyone tells you like go out there, put yourself out there. Yeah, but every time I go out there, I don't get what I want. Yeah, I get hurt and I come back and I go back into my cocoon even more. So we come up with these defense mechanisms saying that I never really liked people from the start. I personally went through a phase of superiority complex, which my mother has explained does not actually exist. It was a defense mechanism when I used to say I am too good to. People don't understand me because I'm really the best. And that led to, no matter how right or wrong I was, that didn't matter. It just led to more social isolation. And that didn't help me when I had to be at a stage where I had to interact with people. So first, I'll be addressing that with the first understanding that somehow you are both of these people. Like everyone is has some of an introvert and has some of an extrovert in themselves. And why is that? Why is that? Because ultimately we're all seeking for the same thing. We want to feel good. So introverts are people who, or let's start with extroverts in this case. Extroverts are people who feel good in social interactions. They talk to people. They feel validated by the way they're able to go about social situations. They feel validated by those around them. So when you're getting that feel good factor from an external locus of control, you tend to become an extrovert. And the more you get it, the more adept you get at at your social skills, and the more adept you get at getting that feel good factor. Introverts haven't received that success in social interactions that they'd want. Like when I was an introvert, I wanted to talk to people. Yeah, I wanted friends. I wanted that humor and amusement. It was not like I hated people or anything. I didn't start off by hating people, yeah, but I didn't get what I wanted, and I tried. It didn't work. And the what I realized today is that why I'm not going to classify myself is because ultimately I'm seeking for what? I'm seeking for the feel good factor. Now, if you're getting it from yourself and not from others, you're going to become an introvert. When you're not getting it from others and you can just keep yourself in your cocoon and feel good about yourself in your cocoon. Like I used to play shooting games. Like, okay, oh, there I'm a god. Like I'm shooting all the bots and everything. Okay. But in a social situations, I'm just a quiet guy. And then you start getting classified as this quiet person. Yeah, inside in my head I'm playing Call of Duty. I'm not a quiet person. Okay, I'm not at all a quiet person. Yeah, he's a very shy, quiet boy. Arey auntie, please leave me alone. I'm not a quiet person. Don't expect such good things of me, and don't expect maturity. I'm just socially inadept. So when you start realizing that introversion and extroversion comes from people looking for the same thing, that is validation, that is the first step to the solution. Which is when you start realizing that when you know what you're looking for that feel good factor from social interactions. And that should be your primary focus when you're going into social interactions. So now uh, now how generally how I would say that, okay, you validate another person, you look nice today, and then you talk to the other person like you look, wow, you're looking good, and they reply to you, no, 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 you are looking good. Like that happens, right? You tend to compliment someone on what they're wearing or what they do, and they feel obligated or you to compliment you back. Like you may have received compliments, and then you would also try to tell your peers, okay, no, you're also damn good. That tends to happen, right? So it seems easy, right? People want validation. You give validation, you will get validation. That seems to be a simple interaction and transaction here, but that's not always the case, because you don't get validated on your own terms. Perhaps you don't believe the compliment that they're giving you. So I'll start by telling you that believe the compliments that people give you. Believe it. Believe the nice things that people say about you and hold on to those more than you hold on to some things that probably you don't like or didn't want to hear. And sometimes when, well, one of the other ways to get good at social interactions is to fight. No, you, no, you, no, you, no, you, no, your fault, your fault, your fault. Well, indeed, you guys are all the same person with the slight difference in your costumes. You guys are actually just fighting away, and that's also a good way to get good at social interaction. So one of my skills that I developed socially was through debates. Now I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to share one of my experiences as to how did I come from that, how did my transition begin from a person who is not so socially good to a person who is relatively comfortable in social situations. That started with dogs. Yes, if you guys haven't figured it out, I like dogs. Okay, so that started with adoption camp. So when I was 12, I joined in as a volunteer in adoption camps of puppies. Now, at this adoption camp, I'm there. I'm in the pen with puppies, and I'm picking up their poop, and I'm petting them, and I'm doing everything. I'm having a great ball of a time, surrounded by dog lovers. I'm petting puppies like three, four them at the time, and I'm absolutely thrilled. And these adopters come up to me, and I'm just petting this pup, and I'm start talking about the dog to these adopters, trying to get him adopted because he was one of my favorites in the pen. Now, where was I? I was in a place where I was happy. I was in a place where I really loved being. I found purpose over there. I found purpose. I want to get these dogs adopted. I want to play with the dogs. I want to interact with dog lovers. So I was in a place surrounded by dogs, something that I love. I was in a place doing something that I believed in. I had a purpose. I was then doing it with people who shared my purpose, matching values. And then I was interacting with those who came to adopt puppies. I already looked upon them in a good light. Suddenly, I went from an introverted person to a very social being, to a person who was talking to all the dog lovers there, trying to get as many puppies adopted as I could. And I became a proper salesman. Like, look at this dog, look at his paws. He's so strong, he's so well built. And then this fellow, he's so frisky, so playful. And then this guy, he's so shy, he's so quiet. He'll nicely take care of you and cuddle up with you at night. And suddenly, I became a salesperson right there. I was 12. I didn't even realize it. And when one of my the volunteer head came up to us and told us, okay, the dogs in the corners are getting shy. We need to start bringing them out in the light and start showing them to potential adopters because they don't get adopted that easily if they're not running around and showing their playful side. So that was like a sales manager coming and telling me, Divyansh, these products are not pushing, but they have a potential in the market. Push these products to your customers, and they will find benefit in it. So it was as good as that, wasn't it? So I'm not going to tell you guys to start from, just go out there and put yourself out there. I will tell you guys to go in for somewhere where you feel comfortable, where you feel happy to start with. Like, start somewhere where you share a certain purpose. And that brings me to the concept of purpose. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Now, with all due respect to this gentleman, Rich Wilkerson Jr., by the way, he's the guy who officiated the marriage of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, but that's a whole different story. I get stressed out just listening to this. Like, yeah, I'm living, so that means I have to do something. Yeah, it's inherent pressure. I'm born. I'm just born, and you're like, I've got purpose, and I have got to do something right from the second I'm born. Like, what is this here? What if I just want to be a pug who knows what he wants in life? This pug wants to be the goodest boy of all time. Now he has his purpose. Now we don't have our purpose. Yeah, like I'm doing a BTech. I'm not sure of what my purpose in life is. My mother has spoken about goal setting, I'm sure, and I lived in an environment where almost every day I was put with like I woke up in the morning, I barely brushed, I don't know where I am for sure, like I'm still comprehending things, and my mom and dad are sitting there with a cup of tea and coffee in their hands, saying, "Divyansh, what's your plan of action?" Hey, what? Please, what is this? Don't do that to me. I'm like it's literally like stress injectors. So, but I realized that what it means to, if you're not sure about your long term goals, be sure about your short term goals. And I'm not talking about 1 month or 2 months from now. I'm talking about 5 minutes from now. Like when I was at the adoption camp, that's when I learned the meaning of purpose. Why was I so socially adept suddenly from a person who could not talk and didn't like to talk? Was because I had a distinct purpose, that was to sell the dogs. Not sell, I kept them adopted. It was to a purpose of something that I believed in. So suddenly it was not about me or my inhibitions as a person or how much I didn't want to be in a social situation. It was not about the other person also who were equally dog lovers. It was just for me about how much I love dogs. That's it. So whenever you go into any social interaction and you're not too sure how to handle it, be sure of the purpose you want out of it. So for me at that moment, the purpose was to get that dog adopted. So when you enter a social interaction, be sure of what you want out of it. Even if it's for time pass, be sure you want time pass out of this. You want gossip out of this. You want to sell an idea out of this, or you want to build a rapport with this person. Be very clear about it. In fact, a lot of people tell you make it about the other person. Now, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you guys. That is a very useful advice to give, and I've heard it from some very wise people, but I don't know how to do it. But what I do know is that when you go into a social interaction, knowing what you want out of it, right? Suddenly it's not about you or them, it is about that one purpose. So when your focus is there on that one thing, you tend to feel a lot more comfortable because you're not focused on what's going wrong inside you. You're focused on what you want. You're not focused on what your troubles are within you. Okay, so suddenly that internal trouble, that discomfort you feel in social interactions, it goes down, and you're suddenly more confident. You feel more like this pug here, like he knows what he wants in life, but we don't have that benefit. So what do? We go with the
We
next.
can't see the screen share. If you can just screen share again.
You cannot see the screen share. Okay, wait. Yes, yes. Now can you see it?
Yes. Thank
So
you.
yes, I was talking about this pug and this quote over here, the Rich Wilkerson Jr. So I'd say that yeah, have purpose in every interaction that you have. Have purpose like okay, today I've gone out and I've come to the mall. Have a purpose. Like even if your purpose is to just feel good, even if your purpose is to just do nothing, even if your purpose is to achieve nothing, it's fine. Doesn't have to be tangible. Okay, but have a purpose and know what you're doing and why you're doing and why you're entering into a social interaction. You'll feel a lot more comfortable. And then from having purpose, we'll come down to selfishness. Now, as I said, I don't know what it's like to to make it about the other person. I just don't know yet. How do I possibly know or feel what that person is thinking or doing? Like, how do I have any idea? I only have myself as a frame of reference. I have not even lived for 10 seconds
Through
in anyone.
empathy, Divyansh, through empathy.
But mama, what is empathy? How do I feel empathy? I only feel empathy on basis of what I have felt, na.
Continue. Thank you.
I only know what it's like to get burnt when I see someone else getting hurt or spraining their ankle or let's say anything for that sake. Sorry for taking such grim examples. I only know that pain simply because I have experienced it before, right? Or I can feel sympathize. Okay, I know what pain is. Maybe not the pain of getting hurt through spraining an ankle, but I know some kind of pain. So that's where I'm able to feel empathy. But what if you when you come onto a higher level, like a cognitive level, wherein things differentiate more, and you don't know what that person is thinking about you. So how do you do it? You make yourself the frame of reference. Like it's okay to be concerned about yourself. So have the purpose that I want this out of this interaction. So be very clear of what you want. The problem with society or whatever society or not, let me not go into that. Oh, the problem with society is this. This is the problem. But I found that selfishness is criticized. Yeah, if you don't know what you want for yourself, then how are you supposed to serve the interests of anyone else in this world? Yeah, and ultimately, capitalism points to the direction of us serving our own interests, and that serves the greater good. So when you know what kind of value you want created for your life, and when you know what your skills are, what you can do for this world, when you make yourself the proper focal reference, like when you know what you want, then you are a far more confident person. Like this dog, he wants his balls. Now, all you have to do in life is find your balls. Yeah, that's it. What do you want? And you'll find that the often the question to what's in it for me is answered by what can I do for you. So most of the businesses and people in this world are thriving and are successful simply because they're solving a problem or they're of some use to someone else. So only when you are selfish and say that I can do this and I want this for that, that you will be properly useful to someone else as well. Otherwise, in my experience, you get stuck up in a self-righteous loop of being selfless. When indeed, if you are able to be completely selfless and you know how to, that's very commendable. But I don't know how to. Yeah, I have not even lived 10 seconds in another person's life, so I know what I want, and me being selfish and me knowing what I want out of an interaction gets me what I want and makes me more socially adept. So what about overthinking? Yeah, what do you do about overthinking when you like spiral into a thought negative frame of mind? Like usually when you I'm telling you to know what you want, but what if you feel like, Arey, what if I don't get it? What do I do? Like you're like this confused dog, and this dog is like I'm showing a dog in a very confused light, and that goes against my values here, but it tends to happen, right? So as you can see, what is the primary focus of this this entire thought bubble is, other than a few rainbows, it's all confusion, negativity, it's all sad thoughts and everything. Yeah, it's really horrible, right? So are you overthinking properly? Let me just ask you. If you're only thinking about what could go wrong, you're not overthinking properly. Yeah, you should also think about what could go right. You should think about what you want. You should think about what could do better. You could go into a daydream spiral of what you can do. Now, I cannot shut my mind. I just can't. Okay, so I'm constantly thinking, but I realize that but I can choose to probably shift my thoughts into something that I want to think. So I'm not telling you guys to stop thinking negative. I'm just telling you all to think equally positive, because if you're not thinking equally positive, then you're not overthinking enough. You're just thinking negative. You're just thinking myopically into one thing. So when I'm asking you to think more and think more and more and more and more, sorry, run your brain out. Yeah, think of all the possibilities, good, bad, and ugly, and focus equally on the good as much as you would on the bad. That is my bit of advice for you guys. Yeah. So if you don't know what to think about possibility, what I could do, or think about something funny. Like I'm a big Spider-Man fan, so a lot of Spider-Man references over here. And think about maybe something thoughtful. Like I like debating, so I pick something to debate upon and I just keep debating on it, so that just sharpens some of my abilities to be able to hold a conversation. So when you don't know what to think and you're thinking negative, replace your thoughts with something else. That's all I would give you guys for. Focus on the good things in life. Everyone tells you this, doesn't it? Like it gets annoying also sometimes, doesn't it? But when I say focus on the good things in life, I don't mean, focus on the fact that you're alive and you're well. That means like everyone's alive. Yeah. What is the big deal in being alive? Yeah. Okay. If I was not alive, I would not even know what the meaning of focus is. But that's a whole different philosophical question. So today, what happens is that when you're going out, like, and you're getting late, suddenly that day, you face so many red signals. Like just that day, it pinches more when you're getting late. But if you notice that on an average day or on normal days, even when you are getting late or you're not getting late, you do get green signals. And it's happened so many times that when you are pulling out of somewhere, you see time pay, someone has to come and cross you by. It's so frustrating, isn't it? Now, I realize that so statistically, it is equal probability of things going right and equal probability of things going wrong. But why is it that it feels like every time I move out of somewhere, usi time pe someone has to come? It feels like the whole universe is driven against me, right? But that's not the case. You'll find that on average days or on average moments, we don't focus on those green lights. We don't think about the moment that no one was at the crossing. It doesn't leave an imprint in our brain. So today I'll ask you to like not just focus on the good things in life, but focus on the average things also. Like just focus equally on the green lights as much as you would on the red lights. Look at things holistically. I'm not a guy who can tell you to stop thinking negatively. Like I have a lot of irritations, frustrations myself. I have road rage a lot myself, but I at least I started putting in effort into thinking and seeing, okay, but I get a lot of green lights as well, so it's okay, not a problem. I start celebrating those good moments as well. So I'll tell you, average is also fine. Like only bad days get registered in your head. So focus on even the average days, even they're a boon in a way. Like nothing went wrong. That's also a very big deal, yeah. Now I'll talk about feelings. Now, as you can see, I have given you guys a physical chart over here. I have not given a kind of like just the names. Why is it that? Because emotions are very complex and I'm not qualified enough to talk about them. Like I don't understand them entirely. But what I do understand are feelings and the consequential physiological sensation that follows feelings. So when you are stressed out or when you are feeling some kind of like especially when you're public speaking, it generally comes through your diaphragm, right? You're feeling that pressure. So that is some kind of anxiety. When you're feeling angry, I feel anger in like my rib cage area. I feel anger in my head. I want like so those are all very, very, very strong physical sensations. And when you're feeling happy, like there's this feeling of warmth. As you can see, this entire diagram is filled with that redness. And when there's surprise, like oof, oh my god, what happened? Like so I'll ask you to focus on your feelings and sensations in your body. So when you don't know what you want in life, when you don't have a purpose at all, when you don't know what is good or bad in your life, you're not sure what to focus on. What is common out of all of us, and why can I say this with absolute certainty, is that our feelings are common. We all feel similar things to some degrees and extents, with a difference over there. But you have experienced success at some point in life, like the first time you rode a bicycle. How did you feel? That sense of surprise, that look, I did it, and a bit of pride also, like look, I can do it. And that entire wait that the feeling of flying, that yeah, I got that success, I did it, that yes factor. So when you're not sure of what kind of an external goal you want to set, I'm sure that every one of you just wants that feeling. Like for you, success is that feeling that okay, yes, I did it. That is the feeling that we're all chasing, aren't we? When we achieve something that we thought we couldn't achieve, that is the feeling that we want. So when you're not sure of what you want externally, focus on what you want internally. Focus on that feeling of feeling good. I'm not just talking about just feeling good. I'm also talking about when you're in the gym and you're lifting a weight, and or you're doing a plank, and you thought you could go for like a minute and a half, but you went for a minute, 1 minute and 40 seconds. That 10 seconds extra makes you feel so good. What do you feel when you are going through some kind of struggle which will make you a stronger person for it? So try to chase that feeling, that kind of struggle, that kind of discomfort, that discomfort which gives you that little extra boost to improve, to get where you want to be. So when you are not sure of what kind of external goals you want, you go in for internal goals, because suddenly when you make feelings your focal point, your goals become smart. They're specific. I want to feel this. They're measurable. They're literally inside you. Your neurons are measuring your feelings at every given second. Achievable, yes, of course. You know it's achievable because you've done it before. You felt that feeling of success before. You just want it again and again and again. It's realistic. Of course, it's realistic. So, and it's time bound because I want it here, I want it now, I want it a little later, I want it after I finish this whole session. So, one way to enhance what you're feeling and to get that whole affinity for such things is to exercise, is to go in for weightlifting, sports, whatever. Just get that feel in your body. Just feel your body. Your body will give you a lot of information. Now let's talk about peer pressure. Now I'm not talking about the kind of peer pressure wherein you're bullied. Like that's all technically looked upon. Now I'm not the right person to talk about bullying or ragging. I'll talk about the kind of pressures I felt in college. Like as you can see, there's that P is equal to F upon A. That is pressure formula. I feel P should be, in terms of social interaction, should be friends and family into number of achievers around you. Yeah, there are so many people around us. Oh my God, he's doing this project, that project. He or she is doing that research or internship. They're doing better than I am. This person's earning more money. अरे भाई ये तो stock market में invest करता है. अरे ये वो कर रहा है, ये कर रहा है, वो कर रहा है. What are you doing? अरे this guy, your neighbor is doing that. Your friend is doing this. Your friend just qualified the CFA examination. What are you doing? That pressure comes inherently with the friends and family come and tell you that okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and family comes and tells you why your friends are doing this, your friends are doing that. So friends and family into number of achievers, that is the formula for pressure. So how do you deal with this kind of a pressure? That this kind of a pressure is just, it's going to be there. It's always going to be there. Like there's always going to be that I could do better, I could do more. So there's this statement. I didn't want to be just a good boy. I wanted to be the greatest boy that ever lived. Now this brings so much pressure. Yeah, what is point in being such a great boy? Like I don't want to be the greatest boy. Like, there's so much effort and so much pressure. So just know that if 10 years back you were caught in school for doing something and by your teachers, and then today you look upon that memory with fondness, don't you? So similarly, the same pressure and the kind of stress that you're going through right now, you will look upon this feeling with fondness and happiness 10 years down the line. That's a guarantee I can give you. You look upon it a far differently. So when you make feelings your focal point, what you are feeling right now can change about the same thing that's happening right now 5 years down the line. So just make sure your feelings are your frame of reference and not the events that are happening around you. Because feelings can change, events may will not change, of course. And yeah, so when you feel pressure, just know that you are feeling pressure about an image that you have created in your mind about what is happening and not what is actually happening. So you're fighting with your own head, your own mind. Don't fight with your own head, don't fight with your own mind. Life is an endless loop of opportunities. Today Bitcoin has come and gone. It's come actually. Tomorrow something else will come. You can put your money into that. So don't worry about losing out. There's always time. And even if you are losing out, you're not losing out what you think you're losing out. Yeah, you're losing out on only what you think or believe of what you're losing out. You're not actually losing out on that thing itself. Just focus on what's going right in your life and you'll feel better about everything else. Maybe you just want to be like this guy, like just a happy dog who just wants to play with his balls and just wants to lay in the grass and feel the sensations of the morning and just be happy. But well, what does he know? He doesn't even have opposable thumbs, doesn't have to attend lectures in the morning. So yeah, that was it, guys. That is my generic yarn for today. I hope that I could make some difference in your life. And if anyone has any questions, I'm willing to take it up. I'll put my number in the chat box and I'll put my email ID as well. Anyone who wants to reach out to me, please feel free. I'll be more than happy to address anything that you guys want to hear of.
So, did you enjoy this part? A little banter by Divyansh Vishwanath, a student. Some response, guys. Come on. Yes, Anshu. Thank you for the response.
I need validation. Please do this for me.
So sweet. I really love that. Okay. So, do you realize that whatever level you are in, every one of us needs validation? So amazing, isn't it? I would like to just say one thing more, other than what is really being spoken by him, is that let me confess to you that since the past 2 days, when I told him, I said, take 1 hour, take 1 hour with my babies, talk to them from your perspective, because you have been surrounded by very high achiever parents. Your mother, your father, both have been doing so well. The Tatas, the Birlas, they did it all, the consultants to those people, and they've been teaching at XLRI, they've been teaching at Jamnalal Bajaj, SIBM, then university, and then SP Jain College and Wellinger and the whole works. And then you have to prove yourself having been surrounded by such. Can you see his expressions? Oh my God, there's no control, huh?
Yeah, wait till you read my
Thank you
pulse
so
height.
much, Isha. Your this is so good. I'm going to save this chat, and I'm really, really kind of grateful for your. I really expected a lot more participation, and when that participation didn't happen, you know what I did? I was actually very happy. I said, serves you right, Divyansh. In the morning when your classes are going on, you're actually cuddled in the bed. You're actually sleeping. And he has had his teachers literally threatening marks. We will cut marks. He would rather not get 20 out of 20, get 0 out of 20, and just manage to somehow get the marks from somewhere else. Okay. And can you clearly see that our Meena is, like behind me also, she comes and goes, and then now she's enjoying the screen, sharing the screen with Divyansh. So I really hope that you all listened and kind of, you felt that I do understand what you all are going through. And I do have a product which is ready, and he has been placed. So he's in the last year of his MBA, he's slightly senior to you. That's it. That's all that it is. Okay. And he understands the pain that you go through. And as a mother, from his entire presentation, he's been after my blood that check my presentation, check my PPT. And I told him, no, go and do it on your own. I have already shared so many things with you. And if you've still not got it, then shame on your mother. What has she been doing all these years? What has your dad been doing? So go out there, do it on your own, plan, prepare, and practice on your own. Don't expect people to hold your hand all the time. Just go make your own mistakes and take ownership. Own your mistakes, own your communication, own being yourself, and be proud of who you are. Because in this life that you are living, you are the star. And today, Dad will be very proud of you, Putar. He used to call him Putar. Professor Vishwanath used to call him Putar. Okay. So big kudos to him, guys. So just some more response in the chat box, some clap, 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 clap.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mama.
so much, Divyansh. I'm very proud of
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for waking up in the morning earlier than I also did. And, taking care of the logistics around. And I'm very proud of you. So God bless you. And thank you, my dear bachas, my students, for being here and for listening. God bless you. See you tomorrow, same time, same venue. And I hope you enjoyed everything and you enjoyed today's session equally. We will process the movie on the chat. Okay. So please, the assignment for today is tell me what you learned from your today's lecture, where the movie was concerned, and whatever Divyan spoke to you from his dil se and took it forward. So take care, have a great day, and tomorrow there is. Thank you so much, Isha. I'm so grateful to you. God bless you. Okay. So all the best to you, and see you tomorrow. And today, please tell Kinjal that I missed her. Huh? So all of you, please keep coming, and only 2 more days to go, and we will meet again for the evaluation. Take care. Bye bye.